And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to another episode of Player Life. It is January. What is it? It's January 17th. God damn. Already the 17th. Here in Tokyo, Japan. It's been a while. I can't even remember when is the last time I did a. I can't even remember the last time I did a live stream. But here we are. Since I haven't done one in a while, why not do one and talk about my adventures in abroad? Because I've been in Japan. The last time I left Japan was when was it? It was like September 2019. So I mean, I don't know, just all the bullshit going on in the world. I just hadn't been traveling, because especially in Japan, uh, you needed a bunch of, I don't know, they just had so much bullshit rules. I just didn't want to abide by them. So, but this year I was like, shit, have to get home, see some family, friends, whatnot. Hadn't been in Ireland in 4 years. So that's pretty crazy. So, Salvador says, thoughts on vasectomy. Uh, I don't think I'd ever do it. It just, each to their own. But I mean, it's a weird idea for me. Anyone who I remember I met a guy. I remember I went to Bali years ago, probably about 6 years ago at this point, and I was staying in this surf kind of hostel, and I met this American dude. He's probably in his late 40s, and he was dating this like hot, mid-20s chick, and he was, pretty much talking about, he would have been cool with settling down with her because he was in his late 40s. She was hot. I mean, at that age, you're not going to get much better. But long story short, he was telling me that she wanted kids and he had a vasectomy and he regretted doing it. I'm aware that you can reverse it, but going to the hassle of doing all that, it's like, I don't know, just wear a condom if you're really wanting to stay safe, or make sure that she's on the pill. I'm not into it. I don't think I'd get one, but I can understand why some guys get it. Yes. So basically, yeah, I hadn't been out of Japan since 2019. So yeah, I was very happy to get away for a month. So I spent 1 week in Dubai and 3 weeks in Ireland. So basically, I kind of just went to Dubai by chance. When I was booking the flights, there's no direct flights to Ireland from Japan, so the layover was in Dubai when I was booking a ticket, and I was like, I might check out Dubai for a little bit, So I decided to extend the layover for, well, not a layover. I stayed for a week in Dubai, and Dubai was way better than I expected. I didn't know what to expect with Dubai, but I kind of expected it to be conservative. Um, I didn't expect it to be very good for doing game, but I was very wrong. Very, very wrong. It's pretty good for doing game. Base pill clip says, "Do does Dubai have many pros?" Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I'll talk about that. Um, so you got to be careful in Dubai. That stereotype is quite true, actually. So you have to be careful about the girls that you're messing with. Well, you're gonna find out pretty soon. Any of the girls that I cold approached or dealt with, I found out pretty soon whether what they're about, whether they're genuine, just regular girl, or that they're there for business. Let's just say. Um. So yeah, actually, around December, I think I arrived in Dubai on December 10th. Um, it's actually a very good time to visit Dubai, apparently, because the weather is very nice. You can be outside no problem. People were telling me that there's time in summer in Dubai you can barely go outside. It's literally too hot. It's too hot to go out. But when I was there, perfect weather, literally perfect weather. Uh, mid to late 20s, mid to high 20s. It was very nice. So yeah, I mean, the thing I liked about Dubai was that they're like obviously in Japan, it's very homogenous. There's not I mean, in Tokyo, of course, yes, there are some international people here, but still compared to the overall vibe of the city, it's a very tiny percentage of the overall city. You don't see that many you don't see that many there's not much variety in Tokyo. You can't It's mainly Asian. It's like 99% Asian. I'm not sure if the exact stats in Tokyo. Maybe it's 98 because Tokyo's a little bit more international. But seriously, it's like homogenous. You go out in Tokyo, you're going to see Japanese people, just Japanese people. You're not going to, some places you go, you might see a little more foreign people, but still, it's Asian people. So it was very refreshing after a couple of years being in Japan to go to Dubai and like see all like variety. Yes, it's nice to see different kinds of women because I don't have I don't have like Asian fever. I don't have yellow fever as they call it. I like hot women, no matter what color their skin is. I'm truly not racist. That's how you know you're really not a racist. That's actually like when you're genuinely attracted to women of all colors and races, as long as they're hot. it's you know, but we all have our preferences. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I do maybe prefer some like I mean I do think there are more hot uh Japanese girls per capita, like on average. um but yeah, again, going to Dubai was nice to see a variety of girls from all around the world. Uh it was pretty dope, actually. It was sick. um Base pill clip says, would you recommend Japan to a black guy? Thought about going. Dude, I mean, yeah, why not? Of course. It's I there's a lot of black guys in Tokyo. I mean, I'm a white guy, so I can't judge from a black person's perspective, but I don't see any obstacles to a black guy having any trouble doing game in Tokyo or in Japan. I mean, I have friends that were killing it in the game. Uh, so I like, and there's Japanese girls that prefer black guys over white guys. So definitely, I think Japan is better to be a foreigner than somewhere like Korea. I've heard bad stories about Korea, and I've been to Korea. I've spent time in Korea, and just the vibe there. Like, I was only in Korea for a week, and I had openly like openly racist comments made towards me. Uh, by some bitches in a nightclub. I mean, even the door staff were pissed off. I remember I was trying to get into a club in Korea, a bar, kind of a bar club, and he asked for ID, and I was like, I said to him before, I was like, the only ID I have is I live in Japan, and then he was pissed off immediately because I said I lived in Japan, and I told him, and I showed him the ID, and then he was like, this is Korea, and I'm like, dude, I'm just traveling. Like that kind of shit just pissed me off. Like, come on, why? Like I told you, like this is the only ID I have. But anyway, so Korea kind of pissed me off in that sense. People are a lot more less polite in Korea. So I don't think like Japan is very subtly racist, but at least they're fucking polite. like, like they might not want to have anything to do with you, but like if you ask for direction, like this is Japan. So even if someone doesn't like you in Japan, say if you're walking around, you're lost, you're looking for directions, and they're like fucking foreigner, like they're saying that to themselves. But if you ask them for directions, they'll like do their best to help you, kind of thing. It's a weird. It's just because it's so polite here. It's a weird. There's a weird contrast there. Um, but yeah, come to Japan, man. If you want to come to Japan, come to Japan. It's an awesome country. It's an amazing. It's not perfect. There's like, but it's yeah. I'm sure you love it. Um, Playlist says, doesn't Dubai have lots of Russian girls? Dubai does have a lot of Russian girls. A lot of like Russians, Kazakhstanis. I think it's just easier for them to get visas. I think like travel visas, especially with all the shit going on in the world. You know, a lot of the world isn't very friendly towards Russia. So yeah, there was. I saw a lot of Russian girls. I saw a lot of like there's Ukrainian girls. There's Kazakhstani girls. Kazakhstan seems interesting to me because I actually want to visit Kazakhstan because not only because I smashed some Kazakhstani girl in Dubai, which was awesome, but I met multiple like I approached multiple like girls in Dubai, and they were like a good few of them were from Kazakhstan, and some of them look Russian, some of them look like Eurasian, some of them actually look Asian. So from what I saw, Kazakhstani girls are seriously hot, um, very very hot. So you get. It seems like there's nice variety, nice blend of a variety in Kazakhstan from white to Eurasian to Asian. Um, um, Salvador says, ever had any issues with security or police whilst day gaming? Absolutely zero, zero. But there was one incident where I almost got in trouble, but it wasn't to do with gaming. It was kind of stupidity on my part. So I had gamed this girl, and we had arranged to go to this like beach resort area, which are really cool in Dubai. There's these different kinds of beach pool resort areas where you can. Some of them are free, some of them you pay in. This one was paid in. Who cares? You know, it was a nice spot. So we arranged to meet there, but the taxi dropped me off at this like the wrong entrance. Basically, it wasn't even an entrance. It was like there was a fence, so I could see the resort, the name, like the building. Like I knew I was at the right spot, but there was a fence, and like it looked like really far down the street, you know, and it looked as though as there was a reception over the fence. So I was like, and the fence is pretty low, so I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna jump the fence and like, you know, get into the reception and pay in or whatever. I wasn't trying to sneak in, but what happened was I jumped over the fence, and as soon as I jumped over the fence, this fucking guy blew a whistle and was like, "Hey, hey, I saw you jump the fence." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." And he walks up to me and goes, he says, "I've already called the police. Like, don't go, don't move." And I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Holy shit! Like, are you serious?" And I was like, "Hey, dude, like, the taxi guy just dropped me off like right here. I'm just like, I was just trying to get in. I didn't know where the entrance was." And he was like being kind of like, "Oh, you're gonna have to stay here now. Wait for the police to come because I don't know what you're trying to do." I was like, "Dude, like seriously, I wasn't trying to like scam. I was just trying to get in. Like it was, you know, it was pretty hot too. It was like, you know, I was just trying to get in. I was already late too, so um, but eventually he was like, "Oh," like I showed him like where I got dropped off, and he was like, "Oh, okay, so okay, I understand." And he was like, "Okay." He showed me to the reception, and then I paid, and it was fine. But it was like, holy shit! Like I didn't want to have to deal with the fucking police while I'm just, you know, in a foreign country. But yeah, I don't know, honest mistake. But yeah, I just didn't even see that coming. But regarding day gaming, nah, it's like I never. The thing is, when I do game, I'm very. I don't make it very obvious. Like that's one of the most important parts of doing game is being kind of not sly about it, but being discreet about it. Kind of, you know, not making a big scene. That's the worst thing you can do, especially in Japan. The worst thing you can do is like make a big scene on the street. Girls hate that when you like when you're very obvious about gaming. That's why I tell guys like if you're approaching a girl walking down the street, like you kind of just come alongside her, not from behind, not jumping in front of her, making this big fucking clown show. No, you kind of just like come alongside her like a little pace or two ahead of her so she can kind of sees you in her vision so you're not surprising her, and then you kind of like wave over, get her attention very like discreetly. You're not trying to hide yourself, you're not trying to like do it sneakily, but you're not creating this like scene. I have to tell that guys, like when I do boot camps with guys, I have to tell them so many times to stop like jumping, like stop getting like making a scene about it. Like it's a very particular thing to Japan that you don't make this like scene in busy areas because girls don't want to be seen to be getting approached because it's called nampa in Japan. That's what like gaming is, nampa, and people are aware of nampa in Japan. It's not like a thing that people are unaware of. So girls are quite self-conscious about being seen to be getting hit on in public, and they don't want to be seen to be that girl, especially with a foreigner, because they're looked down upon. They might be looked down upon because like a foreign guy, and then people will think she's a fucking, you know, a slut or whatever. So, you know, just be discreet. So, I mean, it would be hard for people to or police to even notice me, maybe notice me doing game. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, I think Dubai is also a lot more liberal than people realize. I expected a strict, not. I knew it was somewhat like international and you know, less strict than a typical Muslim country. But I'm telling you, like, it's very liberal in some ways. You go to the beach resorts, you go to the beaches, there's girls like not naked, but they're wearing like little micro bikinis, G string tongs, like it's pretty crazy. Like I didn't expect that. I thought it would be more reserved. No, you go to the beaches in Dubai, there's girls wearing tiny, tiny little bikinis. tiny little bikinis. Um, I was like, wow, holy shit, didn't expect that. Um, I might as well just show you. I made a montage of the trip. I might as well just show you since we're talking about bikinis. You'll see some in this. Let me just show it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so as you can see from that short little clip, Dubai is a lot more liberal than you would realize, and then at that, then a lot more people would realize. A lot of people think that it's this very strict. It's not at all like that. I mean, you go down into the malls. There's Victoria's Secret stores, like the sexy, uh, ladies' underwear store, right downtown. Like dude, a lot of guys, oh, better be careful doing game in Dubai. You better be careful. Like you're gonna get in trouble. No, like it's not that strict. You know, it's really not. Like there's girls wearing string bikinis in public, like not in public, but like down on public beaches. You know, um, playlist says how many days in Dubai? I was in Dubai for a week, about six. Like I had about 6 days. I got 2 days in Dubai, which is not bad. And I mean, if I was there for longer, see, I was like, I was doing a lot of games, so I was getting like a lot of numbers. Like if I was there for longer, I could have cashed in. Say if I was there for 2 weeks, I'd say if I was there for the second week, I could have cashed in a lot more lays. But I mean, 2 days is fine for me. I had a great time. Actually, I had a great time in Dubai. And two very satisfying, nice ladies. It's a good time. Um, so Sean O'Sullivan says, "Did you go to Dubai on vacation or business?" I was just there on vacation, not business. Uh, so yeah, good. I'd recommend Dubai. I don't know what it would be like to go there in summer, like when it's really hot. It's not very. It's not very pedestrian friendly. Like the streets outdoors, you have to spend a lot of time. Like I imagine when it's super hot, you have to be indoors all the time. But it's all good because there's these huge, ginormous shopping malls, and that's where I, did a lot of game. Um, another good spot to do game in Dubai was like along the marina. Uh, they were very good spots to uh do game along the marina. There was a lot of chicks. You would find, because the chicks that I met were also traveling, so they were the kind of girls that were more the girls that I hooked up with weren't like living in Dubai. They were also just there for a few weeks. So yeah, good times. Um, Based Pill Clip says, "How long you been in Japan?" I've been in Japan for 7 years now. 7 years in Japan. I've lived in different places around Japan. Japan is awesome in many ways. I was quite happy to come back to Japan. Actually, it was great. Um, Japan isn't perfect, but it's a dope spot to live for sure. Sean says, "How did you find zero gravity on Barasti Beach? I spent 3 months there during last summer. I found them basically. I didn't do like when I go to a new city. I don't. It's just not my style to do much research before I go. I don't. I just go to a new city. I get out in the streets and I walk around. I love. I like to explore like that. But I found through girls. How else would I find? That's honestly, I swear to God, that's honestly how I found them, because the story I was telling about me hopping the fence and almost getting in, yeah, getting arrested for honest mistake. I was just trying to get into the venue without because I couldn't find the entrance. Anyway, um, the girl that I was supposed to meet there, that I did meet there, she told me about it. I met her at the like walking along the marina area, and we went for some drinks, and then I didn't get a same day late, but she she suggested we go to zero gravity the next day. Well, I suggested let's do something tomorrow, and she said, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Let's go to a beach," and she was like, "Oh, I know this cool area. It's called Zero Gravity," and I was like, "Oh, let's go there." She was a hot Kazakhstani girl. Good time. Zero Gravity. Oh my god, it was like a weekday when I went there, so it wasn't even busy, but there were some smoking hot girls there. Again, scantily clad, man. Like became like I didn't expect this. Like I didn't expect these kind of places. Honestly, I didn't even think about going to beaches. Actually, that's how little research I did before going to. I didn't do any research before going to Dubai. I didn't even realize I'd be going to beaches. Like I didn't think there'd be beach. I just didn't. I didn't research Dubai at all. But it was a pleasant. That's why it's nice. Yeah, pleasant surprise. Didn't expect to be around bikini clad women in Dubai, but I was. It was awesome. Um, and Barasti, uh, the same girl actually told me about it. The same girl that I went to Zero Gravity with told me about. Oh, there's another place that's called Barasti. Barasti's free, so that's pretty cool. Um, uh, Sean O'Sullivan says, "I seen you at Zero Gravity in your montage." Yes, Zero Gravity, and also Barasti is also in there. Barasti is also in the montage, where you can see some very scantily clad ladies. Yeah. Dubai is awesome. I was very pleasantly surprised with Dubai. Um, very, very. I definitely want to go back. Definitely want to go back. Spend about 2 weeks. Probably go back, spend about 2 weeks there. Uh, but yeah, I I definitely recommend Dubai. It's definitely a place that you can do game. It definitely is, because I did it. I've been there, done it, and it worked out very well. Like I said, if I stayed there even another week, I could have cashed in on even more lays. Like would have been, but I wasn't there long enough. Sometimes when you get a girl's number, it's always better to seal the deal as soon as possible. But sometimes it takes a few days, like a week, to so your schedules link up and then you can actually meet. Um, but the cool thing about when you're traveling is girls that are willing to meet you and go on a date with you, they know you're traveling, so there's a good chance that you're going to get laid, because they know like you're not staying in the city. The girls that I met and I hooked up with, Like they knew, obviously, they knew that I'm traveling. That I'm only there for a week. Like I said that to them. So the fact that they're willing to meet, there's a good chance of getting laid. And the two girls that I did go on dates with, well, one was a date, and then other was actually it was kind of a same night lay. It wasn't from day game, but yeah. So that was Dubai. Then I went back. I went back to Ireland, um, and man, when I went back to Ireland, I really realized that living any kind of player lifestyle is largely reliant on your location, where you live. Uh, there's just some places that if you live there, due to culture, population, logistics, all that kind of thing, it's not feasible. It's not possible to live a player lifestyle. So I this isn't new information to me. I know this stuff. I tell guys this. I don't lie about it. I am straight up with because some guys come to me for consultations and they're living in very rural small towns, and I'm very straight up with them. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be difficult for you to live a player lifestyle. It's not that you can't get laid and maybe spend one or two plates, but living like a player lifestyle where you're regularly hooking up with various women, it's some places it's not feasible to do that. It's very difficult. Just like I said, the culture, the population, stuff like that. Um, and I would say my hometown, because I'm from a rural part of Ireland. Like the population of the town where I grew up in is like about 20,000. That's tiny. That is tiny. Like in the town, the whole population. Like so when I was going back, obviously my main priority wasn't, in Dubai, it was like, having fun and, gaming and, trying to meet chicks and seeing the city. But obviously when I went back home, my priority was to obviously meet my family and friends and just, you know, connect with my home country again. But obviously it would be nice. Obviously, I did a little bit of game. It like the thing is in my hometown was so it was like coming from Dubai, like in Japan, when you go out and walk around the streets, um, in the busy areas, there's so many chicks that are bangable. There's just you see so many, chicks that you could approach. That's what's amazing about. That's why Tokyo is so. It's not that game is easy in Tokyo. It's not. This idea that, oh, you're a foreigner, you have an advantage. You're so much easier. No, it's literally the opposite. It's like, as a foreigner, you're at a disadvantage. You're at a disadvantage. Like, you have to be so much better than a Japanese guy to get you see it so many times, and you have to live in Japan to see it. But you need to be better. Japanese guys have way more of an advantage. The Japanese guy can be a twerp nerd dork, and he's still going to have much more of an advantage than like a Western Chad. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But the great thing is about Japan is just like there's so many bangable women that you can approach. So it's like if you just put in a little bit of, if you just consistently approach. I'm not saying you have to go out like for hours a day, and there's so many variables as well. It depends on what you look like, depends on but a lot of it boils down to like, are you consistently approaching every day? But anyway, so that's Japan. Dubai, I know, like, again, like, it's international. There's a lot of people there, but there's less bangable women. Like when you're walking around, like when you see girls, they're super hot or they're but compared to Tokyo, there's less bangable women. So it's like it's not as easy to game there. I mean, it's like in a way it's easier, but because girls are more receptive. That's another point. That's another thing. Like, so in Japan there's more targets to approach, but in Dubai there's less targets, but the ones you approach are way friendlier. That's another, like, nothing that I wasn't aware of already, but it's it just reinforced my, not the idea, the fact that it's hard. If gaming in Japan is like doing weighted pull-ups. When you leave Japan, it's like the weights come off. It Japan can make you really good at game because the thing, you don't get ghosted. Like I didn't get ghosted in Dubai. I didn't get ghosted in Ireland. Like every girl that I approach, at least hears you, like sees what you have to say. A lot of girls in Tokyo and Japan will literally ignore your existence. I'll walk up to a girl and I'll be like, "Hey, what's up? How are you?" And like she won't even like make it. Just won't even acknowledge your existence. She'll just be like looking around, like just like literally ignoring your existence. But so when you can overcome that in Japan, it just makes, I don't know. Like I said, the easiest description I can describe is that it's like doing weighted pull-ups, and then suddenly taking the weights off, it's easier to do the pull-ups. Same with game, honestly. And ironically, there's this idea that it's the opposite. Oh, you're a white guy in Japan. It's so much easier for you. Fucking bullshit. It's garbage. It's not true. It's like literal lies. And that's why it's so annoying because it's literally the opposite. But alas, you just, it's one of those lies, one of those stereotypes that you just have to. I won't accept it, but it's just people are gonna think that and whatever. Come here, try it. But yeah, so Dubai, there's less like bangable women, but they're like the ones you approach are way more like people are just, they hear you out, they talk to you, they don't ignore you. They're like kind of like they'll see what you have to say. Way friendly, like people like, yeah, chicks, people like, yeah, just more receptive. Same thing in Ireland. Um, but my hometown is like extreme lack of targets, extreme lack of options to approach. So it's makes sense. It's common sense. It's a tiny rural town. So you walk around the town, you might literally see one. If you walk around the town for 30 minutes, you might see one bangable girl. I'm not joking. Like you might see one, and then she might be in a position. She might be with a guy. It's that kind of small population rural area. It's not a place that you can live a player lifestyle. I understand why people would use dating apps and stuff like that. I mean, the other way that, you know, like if I live, let's just say hypothetically I had to live in my hometown. I would engage in if and I wanted to get laid with various girls. I would have to engage in all three pillars of game, which of getting laid, which would be nightlife. I would do cold approach when the opportunity presents itself, and I hate to say this, I really don't like doing it because I really despise dating apps no matter where you are, but I would use dating apps if I lived in my hometown, even though I don't like them. You just don't get as good a bang for your buck on dating apps. I'm Some guys can disagree with me, that's fine, but I'm saying I would use them, but I would reluctantly use them. But it's a hypothetical because I can't envision myself living in my hometown when I'm trying to live a player lifestyle, when I'm trying to like have fun and enjoy life. It's a place maybe you could live when you're older, because it is one thing about my hometown is very one thing about rural, like the coastline of Ireland, is it's very fucking beautiful. It was quite refreshing in that sense, to go back and, because I'd been in cities like Tokyo, Dubai, ginormous cities, like huge populations, and then it was quite nice to get into a smaller, natural, scenic environment. Although the weather was shit, but it was still quite nice. The rugged beauty of the North Atlantic Ocean, you know, it's quite refreshing. But regarding game and living any kind of player lifestyle, not it's difficult to say the least. I did some nightlife. nightlife. I was like I said, my main objective when I was going home was just to connect with friends and family. And but you can kill two birds with one stone. I went out a few nights. There's very limited options when going out in my hometown. So there's a few bars, one club, one nightclub, one or two. Well, yeah, it's extremely limited. But y- that would probably be the best way. Nightlife in a very rural town like my hometown would probably be the best way to get laid. Um, Again, it it yeah, I had some success. You know, I didn't seal a deal in my hometown. A lot of girls that were home, a lot of the girls that were actually bangable, or you could go as far as say were hot, not tens. I don't think I saw one single 10 in my 3 weeks. Maybe a nine. I'd say the best I saw in my hometown was a nine, and I was there for 3 weeks. So I'm just trying to give you an idea of how, yeah, yeah, how scarce things can be there. But there were certainly girls that I would have banged, but I'm not saying but there certainly were. But yeah, I would say nightlife would be how I would get laid the most in if I lived in my hometown. That would be the way, because it would combine. Like, I don't like dating apps because it just seems like you just do have to punch down. You're not getting a fair deal. That's just my experience. That's my opinion. I don't like them. Day game, it's very hard because just so little. You see so few chicks around. Like, just so few. Like, you could spend like you. It's hard to do. So you just do it when the opportunity presents itself, which isn't very often. And then, yeah, the best one, which would be nightlife, because they're congregated in an area. It's real life. They see you. You're not going to get ripped off. It's like, so yeah. I mean, the funny thing is so it was like, I don't know. It was like going to. It reminded me of college, like when I was in university, because I was rolling around these nightclubs, not nightclubs, nightclubs, like a club, which was unbelievably shit, by the way. But there was a bunch of bang. I would say there was a good few bangable girls. Let's just say there was, but it was quite easy to escalate with a lot of them. Not a lot of them, but plenty. Like, I mean, so it was like in college parties, you'd go around making out with different girls, dancing with different girls. It was kind of like that. But it's a Christmas season. Chicks are with their friends. They're not gonna just leave with you just to get, like, just to they're not gonna leave their friends when they're home only for Christmas, and they haven't been home. You know what I mean? It's more about their friends. They're more about spending time with their friends, and I get that. I was almost like that. I was like just chilling with my mates. But yeah, so that was my hometown. I spent like probably about 2.5 weeks in my hometown. It was nice in some ways. It was annoying in other ways. It would be nice if you could do both, but yeah, it's not a lot of bangs going around my home village. But then I went to Dublin, and Dublin was what, like a very. I mean, I know Dublin. I used to live in Dublin, but Dublin is extremely international. Extremely. Um, but anyway, yeah. So I went to Dublin. I could have stayed with my family. I have family in Dublin. I could have stayed with friends, but I was like, fuck that. I want to, like, I need to get laid in Ireland. Like, fuck's sake, Mac the day gamer. Like, here, seriously, you know. It was nice seeing my family and all, but now it's like, yeah, I need to get laid after 2 weeks. Like, so I was like, fuck it, I'll get a hotel, and I got a hotel in central, like, Dublin, and just want to be in the city and enjoy walking around and whatnot. So I got a hotel, and I did some game, and I did day game and I did night game, and it was a pleasant surprise. It was again, it was like such a reminder, like wow, like game is so much cold approach is so much easier because like I've been in cold approach in Japan for like ever ever since I've been here. It's over 7 years, and that's like doing weighted pull-ups for 7 years. Like I've been abroad. Like it's not like I haven't been done. Like it's not like I haven't been traveling. But the last time I did travel was yeah, like September 2019 in Korea. So, but anyway, yeah, still, regardless, then so much game in Japan, and game in Japan is harder. It's harder. There's more girls to approach. There's way more girls to approach, but the rejection rate is way higher. So it just like the finesse. It just gives you so much more finesse. Like when you're able to withstand all that rejection and able to like be smooth and everything. So when you go abroad, like when I'm in like an international city, and there's and I approach girls, they just I don't know, they're not used to dealing with guys that are just that's like I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but they're just attracted to it. They're turned on that I'm just able to approach them in such a smooth manner without like genuinely not any nervousness off me, like minus nervousness, like cold as ice, like just smooth as fuck, like just it's just second nature to me to roll up to a girl and start talking with her and in a flirtatious manner. It's so there were like zero. I can't even think of one girl that ignored me in Dublin. Like that, all of them at least like talked to me and like wanted to know why I'm approaching them. At least that doesn't happen in Japan. That does not happen. So a lot of girls will just ignore your existence. So that was it's nice to experience that after it just seems friendlier, puts you in a better mood. Like when girls start like wait, yeah, it takes perseverance when you're dealing with girls that it like ignore your existence and or reject you. um but it's part of the game. It is part of the game. It doesn't bother me anymore, like, but um it's also nice, and it makes you realize, wow, okay, this is doing all that game in Japan is really wow. It really, really, really does help. It really has made my game really, really good. Um, because it's just mainly about being relaxed. Like just that's half the battle. It's not everything, but because a lot of guys, like not a lot of guys, but some guys come to me and they tell me they've absolutely zero problem approaching uh approaching women. Like they're fine, they're not too nervous, they're fine, they can approach, but they have no idea how to escalate. So it's not all about, you have to know, you have to incorporate the flirtation as well, because some guys can approach girls, talk to them, but it's pure sterile. Like it's so sterile, there's nothing there. You have to approach in a flirtatious manner. um and good lord, so Jeju Do says, why didn't you go to London instead of Dublin? Because I'm Irish. I mean, um, I'm Irish. I was just wanting to spend time in my home country. I hadn't been there in 4 years. So, yeah, maybe London next time. I think next time I go back to Europe, I'll spend like maybe, I don't know, a week or two in Ireland and then like a month traveling around Europe, because it was so refreshing to go abroad and do game outside of Japan after so long, after a few years. It was very pleasant experience. Just because there's this yeah, there's so much fucking garbage in the red pill that talk, all these or like black pill talk about the worst case scenarios. Oh, you're gonna deal with all these horrible women and they're gonna reject you. They're gonna call the police, and it's like, honestly, doing game in Dubai and Ireland and Dublin was way like it was a much more pleasant experience I had dealing with the women that approached. Um, Given the funny thing is, I didn't even yeah. It was just a pleasant experience because you're not getting like the rejection rate for me. I don't know. For some reason was I think girls in Japan are just more just they have ice in their veins. They're but yeah, it was nice. Salvador says so. When you say to approach discreetly and slide in smoothly from side, how do you recommend to approach fast moving girls in a congested area? Well, the thing is about fast moving girls is that generally they're hard to approach because they're generally when they're moving fast, like and they're almost running, it's like they're late to be somewhere. It's like so I would say the same thing. Just do the same thing, but the I've done this, and from my experience, the chances of rejection when a girl is like almost running, kind of like she's walking so fast that she's almost giving off a sign that she doesn't want to be approached. But it's not that it can never work. But you do the same thing. You do the same. You kind of if it, I hate approaching girls like that because it's almost like you almost have to jog. Like you're almost like she's walking so fast it's just kind of unnatural pace. I don't like that pace, but you do the same thing. Kind of slide in, not from behind. You're a little pace or two ahead of, so you get up. You have to get up fast. Pace or two beside her. Go, excuse me, what's up? And say like, see if she responds to you. It's so like opening girl. It's so like there's so much sparginess in the red pill space in pickup, and it's so simple. Like all you have to like, it can literally just be like a wave, like hello, what's up, like how are you, like it's how you say it. It's you don't need these dumbass stupid pickup lines. But anyway, um in general when a girl is moving fast, the rate of rejection will be higher because in general they're going somewhere, they're late. Some girls even do that as a sign not to be approached. But still shoot your shot. If you really like she's your type and you want to approach her, do it. But it can just be simple. Same technique. Get you're just gonna have to exert more energy by walking really fast, almost at a jog pace. That's why I don't like doing that because I have to almost run after a girl, and it's like yeah, I've done it, but yeah, I'm less likely to do stuff like that these days. I just don't often do that, but I have done it and I have been successful. But I will say, the success rate tends to be less with those kinds of girls because they're giving off signals and they could genuinely be late for some place, like, and genuinely have to go somewhere. Um, yeah, so that's that. But yeah, Dublin was a pleasant surprise. And I went to this club in Dublin and it was absolutely insane. It was really wild, like, because I've never had an experience like this in Japan ever. So it was like a really big club. Well, pretty fucking big. Like it was big. It's actually called the Camden in Dublin. If anyone's in Dublin, to Camden, I'm sure you know it. But man, it's like super international. Like it was the crazy thing. Like it's so international. There's so many different kinds of girls there. Like it's wild. Like any kind of girl, black girls, white girls, Asian girls, any kinds, Indian girls. It was Dublin is really international though. South American girls, Brazilian girls, wild. Like and they were like a lot of them were dressed super sexy. Super sexy. And honestly, I've never it was wild. It was wild. I was like literally bouncing from chick to chick, dancing around like I was I was being very successful in that club. Very, very, very successful. And it was a fun night. It was a fun night. So yeah, I mean based pill clip says how many lays in Dublin? 2 lays in Dublin. I was only there for 2 days, so it was pretty good. Two lays in Dubai, two lays in Ireland. Yeah, Dublin. Oh, Dublin, man. My last lay in Dublin made my trip. Absolutely made my trip. So yeah, good times. So the first girl was an Irish girl. She was it was a Friday night, and I had went met some friends, went to some bars, went to a club, had some fun, got a lot of numbers, but didn't manage to get the lay. So I was like walking home, walking back to my hotel, and I saw this girl kind of like, you know, walking down the street alone, and she was like not walking fast. She was kind of looking around. She just looked like she would be open to being approached. And I approached her, and this was very near to where my hotel was. So I approached her. As soon as I approached her, super receptive. I almost knew this girl definitely like wants to fuck. Like as soon as I opened her, because she was so receptive. Like she was like, just you know, same thing. She was walking along the street. I went alongside her, kind of. Yeah, at that time, and like it doesn't really. You don't have to be so particular about it. It's like it was like two. It's like clubs close really early in Dublin. By the way, really that's annoying. It closed at 3 a.m. It feels like the night's just getting started. But anyway, she was very receptive. I compliment, introduction, you know. And when I introduced myself, I shook her hand. And when I shook her hand, like we basically just held hands. Then she squeezed my hand back, and we held hands walking down the street. And I told her I'm from Japan, and she was like, "Oh no, I live in Japan." And she was, "Oh, why are you in Japan and all that?" So the funny thing is, so a lot of Irish girls get really like it's almost annoying. It's almost a cock block telling girls I live in Japan to Irish girls because they think I'm trying to show off, or they think I'm lying. It's weird. It's a weird thing. I'm not trying to show off. I'm literally like it's just this weird dynamic. But this girl was like, she thought it was cool. Like she was like, "Oh, Japan, cool. I'd love to go to Japan." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." So but anyway, I'd already started escalating from the get go because I just met this girl, and now we're walking down the street holding hands. And then we're actually walking towards my hotel, and yeah, I just start, just a little, not an alley, but like a covering. It was kind of drizzling, shitty Irish weather. That's the shit part. But yeah, there was the shop cover, and we're just taking shelter there. And my hotel is literally across the street. Actually, no, on the same street, and we're right beside it. Like she didn't even know that at that time. But we start escalating with her. We start making out on the street. I'm like, I I told her I'm staying in Dublin, and and then I pretty soon told her my hotel's right there, and I'm like, after I escalated with her, I'm like, let's go up to my hotel, and she's like, no, no way, you'd love that, wouldn't you? Like this cat and mouse game, like, you'd love. I came up, and I was like, yeah, I would love. I just doubled down, like, yeah, I would love, and we started getting very sexual, and like, yeah, yeah, I would love. And we started talking, like, literally talking about sex and stuff. And eventually I just kind of let her, and that was all a game. It's just a game that you play. And she came up, and yeah, she was nuts. She was in a good and bad way. She was kind of annoying, but it was also very, yeah, crazy girls are good in bed, let's just say. um yeah, so that was that. That was kind of not day game, but cold approach street game, I guess. And then the next one was, so I went out on a Saturday night, and I went to a club, with the crazy club, with a lot of girls, and I had a crazy time there, like making out with super, like, I'm not exaggerating. I think I danced with, made out with 6 or 7 different girls. Like that has never happened in Japan. 6 or 7 girls in the space of like maybe 2 hours, like just bouncing around. It was just a fun time. Had all these hot girls like grinding on me. It was awesome. Like different kinds of girls, like Taiwanese, Brazilian, like Spanish, like awesome. It was a great, fun time. in that club. That has nothing like that ever happens in Japan. Like that many girls, like 6 or 7 different girls, like bouncing around the club, like having a lot of them being very receptive to me. Um, yeah, so I got a bunch of didn't manage to seal the deal, but there was one girl, this Brazilian girl with. If you follow my Instagram because you might have seen it. I don't know because I post some naughty things, stories from time to time. But like this girl was a like her face wasn't a 10, but she was certainly not unattractive. But her body was my like she was a 10. Her oh my god, she was like I would say she was an 8 overall package an 8, but her body was a 10, like a 10, a straight up 10. Like, and that's all that matters when it comes to sex, anyway. So it was. So this was the my last day in. So I met her in the club and she was grinding on me. We made out. We escalated a bunch. This is the funny thing. This girl had seen me making out with another Spanish girl, and she. This is what I mean. Like I talk about this. Like I've talked about this before in night game and club game. Like when you're alone in a club and you're just walking around and you're not with any girls, you're not interacting with people, that's like a cock block. Girls are turned off by you. But when girls see you, sometimes when girls see you having a good time with other girls, like, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, sometimes it makes you even more desirable to them. A lot of the time it does. And that could have been what was happening in the club. Like I was like snowballing. I was like getting all this traction because girls were seeing me with other girls and were like, "Oh my god, he's what's it about him?" Like so. But this girl saw me making out with this Spanish girl, and then this Spanish girl, her friends dragged her off, and I was like, "Oh fuck that!" That Spanish girl was fucking hot too. But anyway, the the Brazilian girls like kind of saw me. I had noticed her. Like she literally made eye contact with me as she like when she saw me like dancing with her. Then anyway, after the Spanish girl left, I went to the Brazilian girl and we started like I mean it's such a turn on when a girl like it turns me on even more when a girl like she knows you've been like messing around with another girl and then she allows you to do the same thing. It's like it's very validating. It's quite satisfying. Um but anyway, she was like very receptive and grinding on me with her like it, I'm a booty guy. Like I like chicks with nice booties, and this booty was is up there. One of the best I've ever had the pleasure of being with. This girl was a Brazilian girl, and oh, there's a stereotype that Brazilian chicks have nice booties. This was outrageous. It was perfection. It was as good as it gets for me. I put up a poll on my Instagram. It's like I was saying, like, does booty get any better than this? And most people agreed, like, no, it doesn't. Like, I say yes or no. Most people were like, no, it doesn't. And I think about 30% were like, yes, it does. I was like, you have to be a hater if you say that. Because if you saw this booty, it's like, how? Like, how is it possible? Like, it's just such an outrageous booty. Let me see. I don't know. I don't even want to show it because it would get me banned on YouTube. It's because it's such an outrageous booty. Where is it at? Yeah, I mean, good lord. Nah, I can't show it. But just follow. Yeah, I mean, dude, like, I don't know. It was phenomenal. But let me. Maybe I'll show one photo. Let me see. Yeah, so I didn't manage to meet this girl. So I met her in the club, got her Instagram, and then we basically she came on the Sunday night to my hotel, literally like and arranged to just arranged to meet her, and she came. We went straight to my hotel. Um, yeah, it's a two NSFW for YouTube, but it's something like this, something like that. But the hip to waist ratio there is just like, Yeah, you can imagine. But yeah, so she came straight to my hotel, and I was like wrapped up, and then I was flying out. She came to my hotel on Sunday evening, and then we did the deed, had an amazing time. Best day of my trip for but of the whole month. And I flew back to Japan on Monday, Monday afternoon, which was really stressful. Japan still, you still have to do that PCR bullshit to get back into Japan, which is really fucking stressful. Stressful as fuck to do that, like bullshit. I think you can. I don't know if you need it if you have the jab, but I don't. Obviously, I don't have the jab. I'll never get the jab. But it's stressful. It's like, how can the balance of my plans lie on some bullshit PCR test to see whether or not you have a flu, which it isn't even accurate garbage. Anyway, I passed. It was a negative test, and I was like, "Fuck, thank fuck," because it would have been so annoying. Flew back to Japan, man. But yeah, it was an epic way to end the trip. Best day of the trip, and it was on the last day, which was awesome. Um, does that make you reconsider Japan? Um, like nowhere's perfect. That's the thing you have to understand. Like, there's no place that you can have it all. There's always going to be pluses and minuses to no matter where you go. That's just the way it is. There's like the lifestyle. The Japan is great in so many ways, like just the convenience of the place, the safety of the place, like things are clean, organized. Um, yeah, it's like, yeah, so it does make me reconsider it in some ways, but still pretty happy here. Who knows? I might like to get out of Japan sometime. I don't see myself living in Japan like permanently for the rest of my life, but it might be nice to leave it for a year or two, maybe come back. I really like living in Japan as a base. Um, you know, it's just such a cool place to be, just to be like situated. But there's a lot more out there. Japan isn't the be all and end all. There's a lot more out there. Because in Japan it's like you're playing on hard mode regarding it's a hard one to like describe, because like Japan is a great environment to live a player lifestyle because there's so many there's so many options, but you need really good game to get with the, like, it depends. There's levels to it too. So if you play at the bottom level, the bottom tier, there's gonna be a bunch of girls that you can bang, and but they're gonna be like bottom tier, which might not be too bad compared to some chicks you might get in your abroad. But the top, like the girls that are at the top, like fucking eights, nines, and tens, they're out of reach for a lot of foreigners. Out of reach. You need expert level game to be able to seal a deal with those girls, and But that's just, yeah. I still love living in Japan for the time being. Definitely want to try living other places though. Salvador says, so do you recommend we always try to stop the girl during the approach, or is it okay to walk with them? Walk with them. Don't try and stop them. Like I said, you have to be discreet. Eventually you should try and stop them. Eventually, if she's being receptive, and I don't suggest you go too far out of your way. I'm not one of those guys that you can go too far out of your path. Like, if you have to be somewhere, don't walk like 10 minutes with, like, even 5 minutes. Like, so if it's a thing where you're on your way to like go somewhere, don't go out of your way. So try and stop them, but you don't try and stop them immediately, because they don't know like, they don't know your vibe. They're not like really sure. At least wait like until you've kind of talked to them for a minute or two, and then try and stop them. I thought you got deported. MLD was wrong. What the fuck? Like, that guy is a lying rat. Like, he's a fucking lying rat. If anyone's going to get deported, it would be him. Man, that guy is just, yeah, total scumbag. Total scumbag of the highest order. You're not the shit I could talk about that guy. But, yeah, fuck him. He's a rat. I know he's a rat. And, you know, he'll expose himself. Or he'll get exposed, because if anyone would get deported, it would be him. Brazil and Colombia are fire. Best Bunda. Yeah, I definitely want to check out Brazil. I've heard very good things about Colombia. Would like to visit there. I have no idea if I'd want to live there, but definitely would like to visit. But yeah, so yeah, been going for over an hour here, but yeah, as usual, like, comment, subscribe. If you've any questions, you want any tips on game, you want to sort your game out, hit me up. You can arrange a consultation, link in the description. So until next time, let me just play the trailer. Until next time, peace out, players.